Teeny beanies.
Oh, God, yes, yes! Welcome back to Is It Still Good? I'm Bear Kennedy in Chicago. Joining me as always,
Andrew Carter, LA baby.
Hey,
Hell
baby.
yeah!
This is Is
All
It
right.
Still Good? This is the show where we look back upon the culture of our youth. We're just two grown-up film students who hate growing up. And we take our rosy-colored glasses and we put them on, and then we put on all of our winter gear, and we take our BB gun outside, and then we shoot at a tin target just straight on, so the BB comes back and hits us directly in the face, and our rose-colored glasses fall right off and break. And it's with that pair of eyes that we look back upon our youth and try to see if the things we liked are still good or not.
Exactly.
So what are we talking about today?
We analyze, and today we are talking about. I'm going to reveal mine on camera. I think you should do the same.
I've got it right here.
All right,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Happy Meals. We just both went to McDonald's drive-thru.
Yes.
We got our Happy Meals, and I think we're going to dig in right now.
We are, yeah. This will be a live tasting with thoughts in history as well of the Happy Meal. So
Yes.
I'm going to open it right up.
I'm going to open mine too. Let's talk about the contents.
Well, do you remember? I remember the box, but I remember a time when it came in a bag.
I never remember the bag.
Really? I
remember this.
swear to God, you could get a bag with like shit on it because like the box is way better.
You might be right, but also I feel like there was a time when you could there
How did you
was
get such a festive box? What the fuck?
colorings on the box and like things to draw in? I think
Yep.
it was napkins. That's nice.
I need
Napkins in
napkins. I'm a
yours?
messy
There we go.
boy.
Let's see if there's a consistency. You got a toy.
I did.
Which one did you get?
I got the gray troll. I got his name is Guy Diamond.
I got Queen Barb. Look at that. The red hair and all that.
Jesus.
Ooh, she's spunky. Got my fries.
Yeah, I got apples on top, which I requested fries. Do they just give you apples now?
Sometimes I feel like they do. I did not request apples. I did not get them.
It says right here. It tells you to do it. It says choose apple slices and milk. So,
I didn't get that at all.
Well, that's all after the
tells you.
fact. Like I already fucking ordered. There's no way I
Yeah.
can change this once receiving the box.
I got 6-piece chicken nuggets.
All right, I got fries.
Ooh, you got the box though with your fries. I got the bag. I got the little like.
Oh, you got the bullshit. Yeah, I got the
bullshit.
Look at how tiny this fucking thing is.
Yeah, especially being held by you. It looks
Yeah,
like smaller.
my giant boy. And
I
I went
got-
cheeseburger.
Barbecue. You went cheeseburger. I never
did.
went cheeseburger as a kid. I always got the nugget. I mean,
Oh,
I
really?
might have gone cheeseburger. I'm sure I did at least a few times, but I really always went nuggets.
I like nuggets more now as an adult, but I was a burger boy from way back.
You were a burger boy. See, I was a
Absolutely.
burger boy when I remember. Okay, so I'm putting this box down.
Fuck.
I remember being a burger boy when I had maybe like 7, 8 years old. No, it was probably later than that. But it was like, it was a time when like I had a babysitter who had an older son who was a couple years older than me who like really liked Big Macs, and I thought he was cool. So once he was like, I'm getting a Big Mac, I was like, yeah, I'm getting a Big Mac.
Well,
Forget
that's a
Happy
great
Meals.
point. There's a point where you graduate away from the Happy Meal where you discover
Right.
the rest of the menu.
Oh, what'd you get? You got a Sprite to drink? Or sorry,
No, I got a
milk.
milk. I got fucking
You got a milk.
milk.
I got Sprite. All right, so I got my nugs right here. Oh boy, here we go.
So they gave me barbecue sauce even though I didn't request it. Is that the deal
What's
now?
interesting? And okay, hang on a second.
Snap into a nug.
Damn.
Brings you right back.
Ooh. I'm gonna try some fries. Fries are a little limp.
That's uncharacteristic. Usually McDonald's fries are overly crisp.
I know. You asked about the barbecue thing. What was interesting is in my drive-thru experience, they asked and barbecue with that. Like it was
interesting.
almost decided, and I was like, I was gonna ask for it anyway, so I was like, oh yeah, sure. Maybe they think the kids like it. I'm gonna try something. The nugget was solid in the barbecue. I'm gonna try it without.
The thing about nuggets is like they're good without, but they are exclusively vehicles for dipping. Like the way that they're shaped and everything, they have that little weird.
I mean, it's almost weird to have a nugget anywhere without a dipping. So it's like I don't know if that's a good barometer. It's definitely not as good without the sauce.
Yeah, certainly not.
But with the sauce, I mean, I gotta say, McDonald's they do a nice barbecue sauce. God, we're acting like this is 5-star cooking.
It really isn't, but it does taste the same. I mean, it's been a bit since I had a
the
McDonald's burger. It tastes the exact same. And the kids' version of this is pretty stripped down. Like I got immediately into the pickle, which I appreciated. But I don't know if they're letting kids have onions on here. Actually, I'm wrong. There's a couple onions.
I gotta say, for a kid's burger, that's like... I'm a little impressed about them being like, we're gonna make this like, you know, like a real burger, like what you would get, but it's just kid size.
Well, I like the idea of forcing condiments and shit upon children because you don't want to grow up to be a picky eater as an adult because it becomes less acceptable. So things like onions and pickles and even mustard, you gotta start easing into the waters on that as a child.
Being a picky eater as an adult is weird. I remember
it's odd.
When I was single, I went on a date with a girl who we went to a taco place, and it was a place that like did, you know, like alternative tacos. They had like a fried chicken taco and you know, like Korean barbecue beef taco and places like that. And the fried chicken came with like hot honey, coleslaw, some sliced peppers, and it was awesome. And so I ordered one of those and something else, and then she ordered, and I was like, and I'll just have just the chicken and the tortilla, please. And I was like, and it's safe to say we didn't go on a second date.
Yeah, I mean that's very shallow, but that is an ideological difference that is impossible to get over.
There's shallow, but I was just like, I can't do it. Like,
absolutely not.
Here's the thing: if you have dietary restrictions,
that's one thing.
I get that. And if she had said I have dietary restrictions, okay, but she didn't. She was just like, I think she even said like, I'm just a picky eater, and I was like, and it makes you think like, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, especially thrown out like that, like brushing off. Oh, I'm just a picky eater. It's like this is something I'll ignore, and years from now we'll get in a huge fight because it's never went away. Like I wanted it to.
I mean, it makes you think like, not that it made me think about this in the moment, but it's like, what if you have a picky eater and like you marry them? What the hell's your wedding food gonna be? Like plain pasta and water? Like,
yeah, gourmet chicken tenders and just water.
Jesus.
Awesome. I'm dunking my burger in the barbecue because I just with McDonald's food I feel like you need more. You got to go overboard. Like it is designed to be good for a child's palate, so it is a little salty and fatty. But even still, I feel the need to be overstimulated because it is oddly bland. Like I want every sauce. Yeah, I want this shit just fucked up before I eat it.
So while we eat, we're gonna get into a little bit of the history of the Happy Meal, and this is pretty interesting. It actually started. A lot of people give credit to Bob Bernstein, who like worked in the McDonald's Chicago offices in the management in Chicago, and he definitely deserves credit. But according to Wikipedia, it started not necessarily as called a Happy Meal as what it is today, but in the mid 1970s, Yolanda Fernandez de Cofino was working with her husband operating McDonald's in Guatemala. And so she created what she called the Menu Ronald, which offered a hamburger, a small fries, and a small sundae to help mothers feed their children more effectively while at McDonald's. Because it looks like, from 1955 to the 70s, so like 20 years, apparently McDonald's weren't really the most family-friendly of places. Not that they were unfriendly to families, but it was just like, it was mostly just like things for adults, and the kids would pick at the food, they wouldn't, there was nothing there specifically for kids. And apparently this concept was brought to Bob Bernstein in Chicago, and inside the box when they first started, it was a burger, small fries, a packet of cookies, and a surprise gift. and a small drink would accompany these items. And at first, the Happy Meals kind of started in the Kansas City market in October 1977, but the national rollout happened in 1979. So their 40th anniversary was actually last year, the 40th anniversary of the Happy Meals. In 1987, at the annual McDonald's marketing campaign, Bernstein was recognized for his accomplishment in creating Happy Meals with a full-sized bronze replica of the Happy Meal box. Which is, like, nuts.
That's nightmare fuel.
Imagine someone who, like, you know, like someone when they grow up, like has a drunken hookup with one of Bernstein's kids and, like, goes into their house, wakes up and sees the bronze Happy Meal, and you're like, what is that?
Well, it's a weird thing to rectify in life, too. Like, when you grow up, like, you go to school and you're, like, learning all these subjects, and you're looking forward to, like, getting out into the world and being an adult. And then once you get through all that, you're treated to a career doing just the dumbest shit imaginable that somehow pays. So, like, a fully grown man has his entire life defined by coming up with a fucking Happy Meal and then getting a bronzed Happy Meal package. And we're supposed to look at that as like, oh, what a great American. Like, that's such an empty existence, it makes me so sad. But... You know, like, you read all that shit, and it's like,
wait a minute.
Oh, this is what you should aspire to. It's like, no, that's fucking horrible.
But is it, though?
It's awful. That's terrifying. I mean, the guy made a ton of cash, which is great for him.
Yeah.
But the golden Happy Meal that makes me depressed.
That's like some mafia shit. Like the bronzed Happy Meal. It's like in The Irishman when he gives him the ring, and he's like, only 3 people in the world have this, and only one of them is Irish, or however many of them are Irish.
Yeah.
That's like some mafia shit. They make him a bronze Happy Meal, and they're like, only one person in the world has this. Like, and you got your hands dirty for it.
How was your ordering experience?
Oh, dude, it was pretty. It was interesting to see how inefficient. No complaints. It's not like I'm going to send them like a comment card. I could give a shit. I'm never going back. But there was like people were like, one person was like beeping and like, hello, like it was like a couple cars in front of me. I was like, geez, like
it's kind of exactly what you drive-through.
What'd you say?
Have you ever worked a drive-through?
No, but you have.
I have. Like, you don't have to tell them you're there. Like, it is automated. Like, it comes through the headset. There's a noise when you drive over it that alerts them to you being there. So people who do like, hello, it's like, yeah, they know. They're just not talking to you.
Practice. Where did you talk about your drive-through experience? I think I remember where that was.
I worked at the drive-through at Starbucks in the city of Orange, right by where the Ducks and Angels play, right on the city limits of Orange and Anaheim, California. So we used to get a little busy on game nights with people coming through the Starbucks.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had plenty of drive-through experiences. It's fucking horrible. I don't recommend it. If you're looking for a career in fast food, like, just try to avoid the drive-through places. Mm. And especially Starbucks has ones that don't have the drive-through. That's the more luxurious Starbucks job. But
Starbucks Reserve bars, those places are fucking awesome. You've been to one of those places?
Yes, it's.
Oh my god! I have a quick little funny story. A friend of mine, my old roommate Oren, he was at a Starbucks Reserve in Los Feliz, and he was sitting there like doing some work or whatever, and he noticed guy comes in and sits down to meet with a friend, and it was the guy who came in was John Hamm. And John Hamm apparently was like sitting around having his coffee talking to his friend, and he apparently was looking around and he was like, isn't this place great? And just like was really impressed with Starbucks Reserve, like loved it.
He's like Damone from Fast Times. Wherever you are, act like that's the place to be. Isn't this great?
Isn't this great? I'm doing business. Yeah. That's literally, I always thought that was
like
so
how John
funny.
Hamm is in real life. Isn't this great? He
like,
walks into the Jiffy Lube.
I loved it. Yeah, it's amazing. But like, yeah, I've never worked a drive-thru. I have worked in restaurants. I've never worked in fast food. But one thing I noticed was in my drive-thru experience just a few minutes ago was how terrifying it is to just be bombarded with hungry people.
All the time.
There's nothing scarier than
no, it's like you are the person holding them up from achieving what they need.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
And if you don't, what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's like the trick for working an effective drive-thru is like right when you hear that ding, you just tell them hello. And even if you're busy, you're like, hey, I'll be with you in like a minute, and then people tend to relax.
Right.
But then where you get the hello and the beeping is if you don't hit them with that, like, hey, welcome to the fucking Starbucks. They get a little antsy because they feel like they did it wrong.
Or they feel like nobody's noticed them. Like,
yeah. You got to give them that strong, like, we know you're sitting there. Please hold up.
Yeah.
But at some point, I was working with someone who used to do this, like, every once in a while. He used to say Star Wars instead of Starbucks. So he'd say, like, welcome to Star Wars. And you just get so bored working fast food. I exclusively said Star Wars for like a year. And like 2 people ever called me out on it. Like, hey, welcome to Star Wars. We'll be right with you. And like no one ever was paying enough attention to be like, did that fucking guy just say Star Wars?
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey,
this
welcome
is dumb.
to Star Wars.
You have no idea like how just unbelievably boring fast food is if you haven't done it. You cannot make time go fast enough, so you end up doing shit like saying Star Wars every time.
If I worked at McDonald's and I was in the drive-thru, I would eventually just put Mick in front of things.
Yeah,
I would start subtle, be like, "Hello, welcome to McDermott's," and just like
McDermott's would be good,
like a little bit off, and then eventually I'd be like, "Hello, welcome to Mick. I can't wait to go home tonight. How can I take you?" Like
you might get a laugh. I mean, it's so repetitive. It is.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's not a life I miss.
I forget who it was. I think it was James Franco. He worked at McDonald's when he was like, I don't know, 18 or 19 or something, and he worked the drive-thru and he would practice accents.
Yeah, that's a good one
which
too.
is great. Great way to great use of your time, I gotta say.
Yes, 100%.
I would have done that if I had worked at the drive-thru. I was a tour guide at Paramount. I practiced some accents sometimes on those tours. Only a few. One time I did a British one, and my British accent's not very good. It's like I can only do like a few words, and you forget though that like when you're giving a full tour, there are words that you haven't said before in that accent, and you're like, oh shit. And I remember I was giving a tour, and so I was like, how's everybody doing? Everybody all right? Yeah. Where's everybody from? Yeah. And
where were you from? Did you have like a city picked out? Like you were from Manchester or some shit?
No, I was gonna say I did. Yeah, it was Essex, like East London, like 1, 2, 3, like that. Very Cockney or whatever. And like I'm probably doing a horrible job right now, but like
yes, you are.
I remember thank you, and I was asking people where they were from, and like most people were, we're from the States, and they were kind of getting a kick out of it, and I was like, I think I got him. And then there was this older couple, and I was like, where are you guys from? And they're like, oh, well, we're from Birmingham. We can't quite figure out where you're from. And I was like, over here, stage 19. Like, and the rest of the tour, like, it was so rocky and so embarrassing that, like, eventually I feel like people were kind of like, what's going on? But on the last tour I ever gave there, I did an Australian accent. And I got very lucky because the tours were about 6 people total. And I had, like 4 people from Brazil and then 2 from Sweden. So they didn't like English wasn't their first language, and so they didn't like they could understand what I was saying, but like they never questioned my accent. They were never like, are you really from Australia? I was like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm from Melbourne. Like, where's everybody from? Like, we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a beautiful tour. Yeah,
that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. You could
thanks.
Probably hold that one.
Yeah, I dedefinitely could hold that one more. But again, same thing of like certain words. I'd be like, over here's the movie theater, like But I totally would have done that if I worked at a drive-thru.
Yeah.
How was your experience?
It was fine. I was a little nervous coming in because I like to be prepared, and I couldn't remember how to order a Happy Meal. So like I don't want to have to stumble through an order. I like to kind of look at the menu and have things. I want to know. I don't want them to ask me questions. Like if there's options, I have those ready to go.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I was there.
Right.
But the other thing I was really worried about is I was worried that I for some reason didn't want them to understand that I was ordering a Happy Meal for myself. And so I was a little nervous about that, and like kind of had a little bit of a backstory ready to go. Like, oh yeah, I'm going home to my kid. I was worried
for my son. He's hungry.
He loves the burgers and the milk. So like I didn't want to like give away the game if they for some reason needed like proof of child for me to order this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which they didn't care. I don't know why I thought they were gonna care. But I got it. I got it down. I gave it to them.
What
correctly.
was so like when you ordered for a Happy Meal? What was did they have any type of reaction, or was it pretty normal?
No, they're like okay, and I was like, all right, fooled them. Yes, like
thank God.
Like exhale finally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that was all good, and then that was fine. I might have got the extra apples because they took a little long with the order. So maybe they slipped me a little something, which I appreciated.
That's nice.
I read something on Twitter where a guy said he worked at McDonald's at a drive-thru for years and never didn't give a 10-piece McNugget 11 pieces. And that's heroic shit.
That's
over time, that's an incredible amount of money to build up that he would be costing McDonald's, which I also really appreciate.
He would have cost him so much. I love that though. That's a hero.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's a hero. I love the silent
of
heroes that do shit like that. That like look
yeah.
around and they're like, "Yeah, I got you." You know? Like,
yeah. So I assume that's why I got the apples. They're like, "All right, we'll give them both sides."
You know what else I love about that is that guy probably felt really good about his job. It's like it's the little things like that.
Yeah.
That like it's like on paper, working at McDonald's probably isn't that fun, but that guy's probably like, yeah, but you know what? I give people an extra McNugget and it makes me happy. And I actually there is something very very sweet about that. I like that
it's good.
A lot. Yeah,
it takes it takes a lot to just get through days of working those jobs. It sucks.
Sure.
It absolutely sucks.
I remember. So like when I just ordered a few minutes ago, I noticed two things specifically. One, when I asked for a Happy Meal, the woman who I was talking to, I don't know if she was surprised or if she was, for lack of a better word, happy to hear it. But I was like, I'll have I'd like a Happy Meal, and she was like, okay, like, yeah,
that's worrying because then that seems like she's gonna ask you for proof of child. Oh, you, huh?
No, see, okay, that's interesting that you took it like that. I took it. I calmed down. I was like, oh, cool, all right, I'm accepted. Like, okay. I'm being accepted to ask for a Happy Meal. It's great. But I noticed that. So it's 4-piece McNuggets, 6-piece McNuggets, or a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And on the menu on the drive-thru, I noticed that you can say like with kids fries is in parentheses, and they have apple slices as an option. And for drinks, they only had Dasani water or whole milk or chocolate milk, and there was no soda option. And so I was like, oh, wow, I guess they changed it. I guess you can't get a soda. And so I was asking for a soda, fully prepared for them to be like, oh, we don't give sodas to Happy Meals anymore. But she was very quickly, oh, no, you can get a soda. But I think that's actually very smart on McDonald's part, because if the kids, once they can read and see that there's no soda, the parents can easily be like, they don't give soda to Happy Meals,
what can you do? Yeah.
And it's like, I will say that this soda is definitely a silent killer. Like it is.
Yeah,
it's the worst thing.
Yeah, the problem with McDonald's, as you just finish the.
Do you mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down? What's in this? Sprite, good.
That's the issue. The problem with McDonald's and fucking Happy Meals as a whole is like, it's insidious marketing towards children. It's awful food for you.
Yes.
It's clearly going to murder you if you have it all the time.
It's going to murder you in the first degree.
Yeah, it's not. Everyone knows it's terrible. It's like you get a fucking troll. Like, what kid is supposed to like resist getting this troll? Like they're going to be wanting to go to McDonald's.
Talk about the toys for a second. I'll open the
So the problem with all that shit is like you do end up being in a position where you're just selling horrible disease-causing food to kids. But on the other side of that is it's so fucking cheap that if you're like a working family at all, you can kind of always afford it, even if you're rough on your luck. And that's like, well, as much as I kind of hate the idea of like luring children in to eat this horrible shit and like just take money and make it into, just the worst form of capitalism possible. Like, people got to feed each other, and this is a good option for them. So I hate that you're put in that position when you try to talk about McDonald's. I come down to the fact that McDonald's is an evil, horrible place. But I'm saying that as I'm looking into the eyes of this cute as fuck troll doll.
It's funny, man, that like the whole reason is like, the toys. Like it's a partnership. Yes. It's a tie-in for a movie and a toy.
That is the main draw to the Happy Meal for sure. Because I just ate the food. It tastes like McDonald's. It's not awesome, but it just is what it is. And I was looking online at like the most valuable toys and shit, and people are clearly still into it who are not children,
dude.
And that's bothersome.
They're really into it.
I kind of get it.
So much to the point where it's a good segue. In November of last year, for 4 days, McDonald's brought back retro Happy Meal toys like for a weekend.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten my hands on that.
Yeah,
as much
to mark the 40th anniversary.
I want that shit.
Yeah, to mark the 40th anniversary of the Happy Meal. And I gotta be honest, looking at this picture, I'm like, wow, that takes me back, and that looks pretty fucking awesome. Look at that picture. Look what they brought back.
Yeah, some of those I actively remember.
Me too. I remember the Furbies. I remember the Tamagotchis. I remember the Power Rangers. That's like the McNugget characters. I remember
those. I remember the one that's pretty valuable was the Happy Meal changeables, which is like the Transformers version. Mm-hmm. They're not licensed to Transform, but like
I remember that too.
I 100% had some of those.
Yeah,
and we had a whole like duffel bag just filled with McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Yeah,
I think we must have given them away because you just you don't want them after a certain point.
No, and they also the big duffel bag. We didn't have a duffel bag, but the thing that I remember being obsessed with was the teeny beanies.
Teeny beanies were a big fucking deal.
And I remember there was a commercial with some voice that was like, teeny beanie, and kids were singing as if that was their voice. And I remember at the end of the commercials, a little girl was like, turned to the camera and was like, teeny beanies. And it was so weird. But and speaking of that, I have a very complicated history with McDonald's toys.
Give it to me.
Very complicated. So when I was a kid, all I wanted was the toy, obviously, like any other kid. But I also had
have some milk and
I was a very picky eater, and all I wanted was McDonald's, but yet all I wanted at McDonald's was the toy. And my parents got to a point when they were like, no more toys. This is ridiculous. We're not giving you McDonald's anymore. And the reason they got to that point was because when I was, and I'm embarrassed by this, when I was 8 years old, we were in London as a family on a family trip, which was very lucky to be able to go there. We were very fortunate. And we went to Piccadilly Circus and just to walk around. And there was fast food, and I wanted a toy. So we walk in, we order, I get the kids meal, and they forgot my toy. There was no toy.
Or did they just not do it in England?
See,
is it a different deal?
That's what I thought. But listen, so initially I thought they must not do it in England.
Yeah.
But then I saw a family sitting at another table, and both of their kids, not just one kid, both of their kids had toys.
So you got actively fucked over.
And I lost it. I was crying. I was like, why did they have a toy? I wanted to. It was awful. It was a classic privileged white kid piece of shit.
Yeah, just the breakdown.
Ashamed.
Yeah.
Just a breakdown. And from that moment on, my parents were like, we are never taking you to these places again, and you are never having a Happy Meal again. It's that simple. Did
they follow through on that?
No. I remember.
Because I'm not a parent at all, but if I had a kid and it got to that, like, just for consistency, if I said that to the kid, they'd be making fun of me like 50 years down the road as an old man. Like, Dad said I could never have a Happy Meal again, and he has actually never gotten me one. And you're goddamn right. Look me in the eyes and tell me I've ever lied to you. Like,
I think the reason why they gave in was because I remember when they gave in.
I mean, you earned it. You earned the no more with that.
I earned the no more.
I agree with your parents on this story.
I agree with them too. I was a horrible little bastard. I'm ashamed to tell that story, but I hope it makes our listeners laugh. I mean, it is fucking funny looking back on it, but it's so tragic. It's so unbelievably tragic and pathetic.
Devastating.
Like, oh man, and the fact that like we were an American family in Europe and this was happening, I guarantee you other people were being like, well, they're Americans, yes, man.
Yeah.
Just like, of course, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen
typical.
with us. Eat your peas, Marjorie. Yeah. And so I feel like it was either a year later, maybe months later. It was that Teeny Beanies campaign. And my sister was still allowed to go and like have the meal and the toy or whatever, but I wasn't. So every once in a while, she would go like maybe with like maybe my mom or like a friend, and she would come home with like, you know, a toy or whatever. And then the Teeny Beanies thing, like it was either like, I feel like they had a couple runs of Teeny Beanies when it was like,
I feel like they've brought back a couple of these over time. Like they have like some known winners that have made a couple different appearances.
Teeny Beanies were a hit, and I feel like they first broke them out like the first initial run, and then they were so big they brought them back again a couple months or maybe a year later. And it was at the comeback of the Teeny Beanies where that commercial with the Teeny Beanies was on TV, and I remember watching that commercial being like, how do I get a Teeny Beanie? Like, I need one. Like, I was like, I have to have one. I need to figure this out. And so I would like subtly bring it up to my parents. Like when it was on TV, I'd be like, "Oh, have you guys seen this commercial? It's really funny. Like, it's really funny.
Oh, just intellectually, it's good. It's very good.
It's really funny." And then I remember I was like sitting in the dining room with my dad on like a Saturday morning, and we were talking about, and like the commercial had just been on, and so I was like talking to him about it, and I was like, "Dad, like, have you seen that commercial? Like, it's pretty funny." He was like, yes, pal, yeah, I've seen it, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, it's so funny because like," and I just was trying to like keep the conversation going in that way.
Yes.
And then he finally like looked at me very calmly and was like, "I know, Andrew, I know. Look, I'll take you. We'll go get you a Teeny Beanie. I'll take you. Just calm down." And I was like, "Oh, no, cool, yeah. All right, yeah." And then like in my head,
if you want to go, like, I'll go with.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like I expected to walk outside and have like journalists there, like, "How did you do it?" Like,
it's like scaling Everest for a child. That's fucking great.
It was an incredible feeling that I like wore them down so much. But I mean, looking back, I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're listening. But I also, on that note of my dad, like, we would always, it was kind of a tradition for us to do this thing where on Saturdays after I would play soccer, we would have what's called out together lunches, and we would go to like Taco Bell, McDonald's, or Burger King or something. Yeah. And I got to give my dad a lot of credit because he not only went with me, he ate that shit with me, and like, what a trooper.
Yeah.
Because having it as an adult is very different than having it as a kid. And
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's why my dad was my best man at my wedding.
I love that's that guy. A good, of course, and that like I had that tradition. Like a lot of people had this Saturday.
Yeah, talk about your experience.
McDonald's
with the toys
after.
And
yeah, so like I had a similar deal where after like swim lessons on Saturday morning we'd go, and it was initially because I just fucking hated swim lessons, which I don't know why. I mean, swimming's pretty good. At any age, but I don't know. I guess it's scary as a kid because you're.
I think the lesson factor. It's like I have to go. Yeah. It's like you go to school and then you're like, and there's another school. Like.
Exactly, and like now, like you want to be able to swim when you're an adult. Like there's stuff that you kind of got to get in early. You don't want to be the guy who doesn't know how to swim. Like that's not good. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy it happened, but at the time I was like, I fucking hate this. Yeah. Not happy about it. And it was like, all right, well, if we just go to swim lesson, we'll go get. At the time, it was like the Danish or whatever. And McDonald's, which I don't even think they have anymore. It's been a while since I've had like a McDonald's breakfast as sustenance and not just like I'm shit faced. But I think they have like a cinnamon roll now. But that was it. It was like, all right, we'll get the Danish or whatever, and I'll tolerate the swimming.
Little lagoon in the middle.
I remember it being just like a cinnamon roll, but just like shaped differently. Like in I'll have to look it up because I have no idea if that's still on the menu. And I suspect it's not. I remember it being good.
So you would go as a kid, and it wasn't always Happy Meals.
Not for after swim time. That was like, all right, we'll get the McDonald's Danish. It'll be great. And I was like, okay, cool. That sounds good. That's an adult thing to do. I'll tolerate the swimming, and we'll do that.
Yeah.
For me, the Happy Meals were mostly like we never flew as a family to go on any like summer vacations because at the time I didn't realize. Now I'm an adult. Like, oh, flying is fucking expensive for just like one person, and you have to buy your whole family. That's a nightmare.
Oh my
so we always used to drive. So we do like 2-day drives and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're on the road, and McDonald's is easy, so that was prime Happy Meal time.
Yeah.
And the toys I remember being the best were the Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
And I remember that they would split off like they do. And I think if memory serves, I think that's Mattel as well because I think they used to do Hot Wheels and Barbies at the same time, but they'd split them. You could designate it during the ordering. I need a boy Happy Meal and a girl Happy Meal.
Yes.
I have a little sister too, so yeah. If memory serves, they do that at the same time.
You can't. I'm sure you can't do that now. I'm sure it's just like non-gender conforming Happy Meal. It's like
I mean that's about as gendered as it gets, like cars and
Barbies.
Barbies. I don't even know.
I think now it's just like I remember that too vaguely, like the boy girl Happy Meal, and like today it's probably just like Happy Meal for all, which. Again, I think
because even like Frozen, like Frozen fucking slaps. I like that shit. Like if I was a kid, I wouldn't be pissed if I got.
Not a fan of Frozen. Personally.
You're not a fan of Frozen? What the fuck happened to you?
I do like that song, "Let It Go." I think it's a good song, but I don't know. I just didn't. Speaking of my biggest problem with Frozen. Speaking of trolls, the trolls in that movie. I just think that whole storyline is ridiculous, and like.
That's your problem with Frozen, is that the troll storyline is ridiculous.
One of my problems. My other problem is in the beginning when the way that they off the parents. They're just
that's my favorite part. That is by far my favorite part.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
And then there's a ship and a giant wave.
To a ship and it sinks. And it's like, all right, they're gone.
Dusted. I was all in. That was like, yes.
Jesus Christ.
Loved it. That was my favorite shit. That's what got me hooked.
I don't know. I just didn't. It's just, I don't care. I thought Moana was so much better. Oh my God.
I like Moana, but again, there was probably a tie-in for Moana with Disney, and like I wouldn't hate getting Moana or shit. I forget the Rock's character, but yeah. There's no way they didn't do both of them.
Oh yeah,
and that would be good, boy or girl, because it's just a good time.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
It's good, but I think I like Frozen more. And
all right, to each their own.
I don't know if that's. I think your problems with Frozen are not holding a ton of water. The trolls and you hate how they off the parents.
I just thought it was like I don't look.
My problem with Frozen is that the sister's the better character.
Sure.
The main princess is not as nearly as good as
Anne is better than Elsa is what you're saying.
No, by far.
Yeah, I look. I'm loath to say like, oh, they bad storytelling, they suck, because it's like, look, I live out here in LA. I do the same things they do, and frankly, they're a lot more successful than I am, and I don't want to sit here and be like, they don't know what they're doing, because that's just not true. And I feel like if the public loves it so much, clearly I'm missing something. So I chalk it up to just my personal taste. I just don't. I just didn't love it as much as other people did. That's all. All
right.
I don't want to sit here and be like, fuck Frozen. Look, I think the results of it are awesome. I love that like young girls are feeling empowered. Like, that's fucking cool. And I'm not just saying that to sound politically correct. I do think that's great. Look, I didn't love Wonder Woman, but I feel the same about that. I feel the same about like, I think it's awesome that like young women or young girls are being like empowered by that. Like, that's great. But for me personally, it just wasn't my favorite movie. But I guess because I feel like I had seen that world before of like, you know, the princesses and the, you know, and the mystical world or whatever. And I just thought like Moana was so fresh and unique and like interesting, like to have it be like, you know, Polynesian culture and you know, and you can see how much research they did and it just felt like a world that like I really hadn't seen before. And I felt similarly about the Princess and the Frog of like in New Orleans down in the South. It's like that's such a cool place that like we don't see in animated movies, but it felt like Frozen was a world that I had seen before and that just felt familiar. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's familiar.
Yeah.
I'll say this before.
Just personal taste doesn't mean I'm not sitting here being like it's bad and here's why. It's just how I felt.
If I felt that way about it, I would definitely say it's bad. But Frozen rules.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I'll say this before we get back to actually discussing Happy Meals. Have you seen the Mulan trailer?
For the new one,
I
think I saw one of them a while ago. I don't know if there's a latest.
Dude,
trailer.
if that movie was rated R, it would be the greatest thing of all time.
Okay. That's good.
Think about R-rated Mulan like slicing limbs off of dudes and like bathing in the blood of her enemies.
Sweet. Mulan's another great one. Dude, the other morning, Zoe and I listened to "Let's Get Down to Business." That song slams. You know who sings it, by the way? You know who's that? You know who the vocalist is?
No. It's gonna be. I probably know it when you say it. From the '90s. Never mind.
Dude, awesome. Like I didn't know that, but I was like, whoa, and then yeah, it's awesome. But anyways, before we wrap up, now it's time for our verdicts about the Happy Meals. So I turn it over to Bear and his troll. What do you think?
Yeah. So the verdict for a Happy Meal is tough. So for me, shockingly, it actually is good. Just kind of not in the way typically these things are. Like McDonald's, again, it's bad for you. You're actively giving your money to a company that makes the world worse and is a huge polluter and carbon emissions piece of shit. However, if you're going to eat there, you should probably eat the Happy Meal. Like you probably don't need whatever the fuck they're calling the big and tasty now, like the big whatever the
quarter pound.
I don't know the menu like I used to. There's some shit on there.
There are different size Big Macs now. There's like
that
Big Mac,
exactly.
Mac. Like I don't know.
Like that. You get to a point in life where you don't have the excuse of not knowing that this food is fucking awful for you. Like just nightmarishly bad in every way possible. So like you really shouldn't eat there if you can avoid it.
Right.
But if you have to, portion wise, you should probably get a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Like it actually is the appropriate amount of shit, and that is odd, but actually kind of makes it for me still good. I mean, it doesn't taste any better than it ever did. But assuming you're already in line at that drive-through, you could and can and probably will do a lot worse than just biting the bullet and having the Happy Meal. Plus, I mean, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this troll, but for about 5 seconds, it made me happy to get it in the box.
There you go. Wow.
How about you?
All right. I will hold my troll as well while I answer. I agree with you. I think that it is still good, but for adults. I don't think it's still good for kids.
Yeah, we shouldn't be giving this shit to kids.
That's really what I think. I don't think we should be giving this shit to kids just because of the nutritional value or lack thereof. And, you know, just the facts of it. I mean, the Happy Meal that I had, the 6-piece chicken nuggets Happy Meal, so there's 5 grams of saturated fat. Apparently there's no grams of trans fat, which I don't know if I believe, but that's what it says on the website. There's 55 milligrams of cholesterol. There's 845 milligrams of sodium. There's 19 grams of sugar. And, I mean, that's probably from, you know, the sauce that I had. But, like, and then you factor in the soda, which is not included here in these ingredients. In these nutrition facts. I feel like, again, like, if an adult is like, I'm craving fast food, and it's specifically McDonald's, because here's the thing. I still go to In-N-Out Burger, you know, every couple of weeks. And In-N-Out Burger is amazing. And yes, it is fast food, but, like, it's good fast food. It's well known that it's good fast food. I mean, look, fast food is not. It's not good for. It's not like I'm like, oh, In-N-Out is so good for you, but like as fast foods go, it's like the Rolls Royce of fast foods. It's it's the tastiest, and it's also the least terrible for you.
It's delicious. It doesn't have the mass produced quality that McDonald's does, where it's like depressing and somewhat bland. Even though it is mass produced, but it actually does a good job of hiding that.
Yeah, I mean, apparently their beef is never frozen. Their potatoes are always cut fresh every day. For their fries,
their fries are awful, but
oh, dude, I disagree. I'm such a fan of their fries. Oh, you get the fuck out of here! What more do you want? It's a fresh cut potato every day. What more?
It tastes like shit. So like, I don't care that it's fresh cut. It tastes like shit.
It was better than these fucking things today. These were like, oh, give me a break. Oh,
the fries are bad.
I disagree. And In-N-Out's menu is simple: hamburger, cheeseburger, double, and
it's simpler if you never order the fries because they're not good.
God, you'll never let that go. And I neither will I.
They're terrible. Their fries,
great. They're great, and they're great, and I wish you knew it. Not that they're great and you know it. They're great, and I wish you knew it.
That hurts.
I'm with you. I think Happy Meals are still good, but for adults. So I guess this one will say that they're like they're still good? Question
I'm
mark?
a yes. Yeah, I'm a yes. It's just
I'm a yes, but with an asterisk. I'm a yes.
I'm a yes for me. Yeah, I mean, you really shouldn't be feeding your kids this shit, but
no. And by the way, we shouldn't really be having it either. But again,
no. If you're going to, you should do this.
If you're like, I want McDonald's, this is what I want. I want McDonald's. I mean, look, if you want a Big Mac, go get a Big Mac. Fine. But like, if you're like, I really just want McDonald's, I just want that taste, get a Happy Meal because you're gonna feel a lot less terrible. I gotta say, I don't feel terrible right now. Granted, I haven't. I've probably had like, 1/3 of the Sprite. And by the way, for a kid, this is way too much soda. If a kid orders a soda, this is absurd. How many ounces is this? It doesn't even say. It doesn't say. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I told you. And it doesn't say on the nutrition facts either. But I don't know. I don't know why I'm still holding Queen Barb either. But that's where we're at. That is our show. So we vote that Happy Meals are still good.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. If you think that Happy Meals are still good, or if they're not, or if you want to go to McDonald's, try one, and talk about your experience, send us an email at stillgoodshow@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. And join us next time for our review of the seminal classic, 25 years old this year, A Goofy Movie, with special guest Khalil Mascati.
Nice. Can't wait.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.